Hello, this is Dan Felbush. I'm the executive director for the Shenandoah Film Collaborative, and I'm here with Gabi Bania, who has two films in the Shenandoah Youth Film Festival. And I'm happy to discuss this because this is my favorite form of film out there. You're an animator, Gabi, correct?
Yes, exactly. And it's my favorite art form too, actually.
What got you into being an animator? Was it Disney, or what got you interested in the aspect of filmmaking and using animation, which is not an easy aspect to take to tell stories?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Well, from the very beginning of my life, I really loved creating stories, and it's something that comes with a natural ease for me. I do not need much time to create a story that is going to be clear and understandable for the outside people, for the audience. So I was looking for a proper medium that's going to be to give me the possibility to somehow share those stories with the others. And I believe that the visual language of film is something that really gives me a great opportunity to present those stories as accurately as I see them in my mind. And I think that especially the medium of animation, when you can create your own world from the very beginning, is something outstanding and amazing, and gives you this possibility to create something very new, very original, when you can include your own soul and your own artistic sensitivity. So that's why wanted to become an animator and creator of animated films. And I'm trying to pursue my goal of becoming a professional creator one day.
So when did you start doing animation? Are you 19?
Yes,
Or
exactly.
we might have, cool. So you're 19, so you can't have started doing animation for that long because you're only 19. So
Um,
what age did you get interested in that?
Well, actually, I always wanted to do animation, but the first time when I created my first completed animated short film was 3 years ago. I was 16 and I was in the very first class of a film high school at Warsaw Film School. Surprisingly, there wasn't any animation classes, so I'm self-taught when it comes to the animation, but I got to know the film language there and some basics when it comes to the movie industry. So it was something that really helped me to start with the film and with animated film especially. So
Was
3 years ago, it was the exact start.
So was it hard to self-teach you what makes animation? Because usually it's more helpful when you have somebody there to guide you through it.
Yes, exactly. It's much more helpful. But unfortunately, in my case, I had to learn animation on my own because there aren't many people actually in Poland, especially when it comes to young people who create computer animation. We are more based when it comes to those traditional techniques of animation like stop motion or drawing animation when we draw each frame frame by frame. I wanted to create a story that was set in ancient Greece. I wanted to create my own adaptation of the myth about Arachne. And I decided to start learning computer animation. And I was 100% self taught when it comes to the computer animation. Well, thankfully, later, when I keep on creating animated films, I received some guidance and feedbacks from people who do this professionally. Today, I'm studying computer animation in the UK, so I'm trying to do my very best to get the professional guidance in this area. But I started on my own, and it was something quite challenging, but also interesting, and it definitely was a great adventure for me.
And when you get your idea for a film, what do you start with? How does your idea come together before you start doing, well, going forth and creating the script? Where
Well,
do you get your
sometimes it's a work when I simply collect my ideas and try to pick the best one. I create some list of ideas and try to create a proper script. So I believe that this work looks similarly as with working with some short feature films. But sometimes I also get a clear idea from the very beginning. It was like this with the film Phantom, when during just one night I get the whole idea for the entire film, nearly shot by shot. And uh, I believe that this is a kind of my favorite talent that I have, that sometimes I just need a few moments to get an idea for a story. But usually I start with the script because it's simply the easiest and the most, I think, proper way to start working on a film.
I'm looking at this background for one of the films that was selected, the is it the execution of memory? And you
Yes,
say
exactly.
it's a metaphorical story about the demons of the past. And I'm going to start talk about the metaphorical aspect of that because in my history, which is not extensive, in the aspect of Polish filmmakers, there's a lot of mythology in the stories that come out of that. I don't know if you've noticed that too, but is there a more of an appreciation for mythology out there when it comes to stories?
Yes, I believe so. And I believe that the thing that made us so much love the mythology was the Romantic era, because the literature and the heritage of Romantic era in Poland is something very important for us as for Polish people. And we always take inspiration from the texts that were written in this time. Romantic era is so important for me as for a filmmaker. And for example, Phantom is also an adaptation of a poem that was written in the Romantic era. When it comes to the execution of memory, that's a visualization of a different poem by Jerzy Ficowski. It was written in the 20th century, so it definitely wasn't the Romantic era, but Jerzy Ficowski was also influenced by some poems and poets from the Romantic era, and he is one of those poets that actually wanted to create poetry that was full of those Polish, let's say, atmospheric mythologies and I believe that reading those poems give you an idea of a Polish way of looking at the past and our culture and heritage.
Hmm. So, what about when you decide how to create? You get the story put together, but how when you want to present it? Because both of your films that were selected, one is stop motion and the other is animation too. So, do you? When do you get that idea that you're going to take, say, stop motion for this one?
Well, yes, actually, I believe that the idea of the story and the things that I want to present are the most important thing. And actually, then I pick the proper technique to present them on the screen. In Phantom, it was very important for me to present the dance of the characters. And I knew that I'm going to present those characters in motion, and we are going to look at them from many different points of perspective. So it would be much more harder for me and much more time consuming to draw it as a computer animation, to do computer animation. So therefore, I decided to create a stop motion film because this way I was able to have a more elaborated work on the puppets and on the entire scenography for this film, rather than working with a computer. When it comes to creating words that are less complex when it comes to the motion, but consists of more unnatural and sophisticated elements, like, for example, the word of the execution of the memory, I believe that the 2D computer animation was the proper medium for it. And that's why I chose this technique for this particular story.
Hmm. And you're still in school right now. Are you? Do you have
Yes,
one more year?
well, actually, now I'm in university.
Oh.
Yes, the very first year. Mhm.
Mhm. And what do you hope to achieve while you're in college from your learning to be a filmmaker? Have you ever, are you going to, you want to, what do you hope to improve on while you're in college in your filmmaking abilities?
Well, I would like to develop my skills when it comes to the computer animation, especially 3D computer animation, because I believe that this technique is the one that is developing the fastest today, and one day is going to be this most important, most powerful technique of animation. So I would like to develop in this area, as well as develop my artistic manual skills, because they are also important for the animator. My great dream and life goal is to become a director of full-length animated films one day, but I know that getting to know proper fundamentals of being an animator and developing those skills with the modern technologies is something important too. So that's why I study animation, computer animation, and I try to develop both my filmmaking and animation skills.
Hmm. And for you to get better from the technical standpoint too, you have to keep up to date with the technology aspect too, continuously learning. So that must be hard for an animator because you have to stay up to date with the technology all, while also trying to be creative too.
Yes, that's true. And I'm aware that being up to the technology is something that's going to affect my work a lot in the future. But thankfully, as it turned out, as I got to know this year, when you got to know those proper fundamentals, and if you are good at doing those basic things when it comes to the animation, probably you are going to progress well, and the technology isn't going to be a big problem, big deal for you. Many programs actually work similarly, and after a few lessons, you can get to know how to actually use the same things, the same rules with a new software. So I hope that it is going to be an inconvenience for me. And won't affect my work in the future badly or so much.
Tell me what it feels like to go through the entire process of creating an animated film and to have it done and see it up on the screen too. What kind of feeling do you have as a filmmaker when you have the final product?
Well, I am very glad that I managed to take this film for all of those aspects of my work and accomplished it. And now it's possible to share it with the others. So the audience can see actually my idea, my vision on a big screen. So that's a great feeling actually, because I'm aware that I managed to produce the product. This vision now can be shared. There are many films that I wanted to create, but actually I know that now as an amateur, I wouldn't be able to because they are going to be too complex. There are a few others that actually I tried to do, but I had to stop somewhere in this way. So with every single animated film that it's completed, I am very glad that I managed to, and now I can share it with the world. So that's a great satisfaction. Although it's a very hard process, and I'm always very exhausted after such a marathon of work, it gives me lots of joy, and it's actually my love, my life. So I really would like to keep on going, and I hope that I will be able to produce more short animated films, and maybe one day start creating full-length animated films.
And what are some of the key characteristics that you've learned about yourself when you became created these animated films? One thing that sticks out in my mind is you have to be a patient person to get to your end result too. Did you learn a little bit about yourself as you started to create all of your animated films?
Well, yes, I believe it helped me to develop as a person, and I learned a few more things about myself. I think that as an advice for someone else who would like to cope with the animation, the most important thing is simply to be closely to your own vision and idea and try to pursue it. Because despite of many problems that we are going to meet on our way, if we are going to work hard and endeavor, I believe that we are going to manage to go through this entire process. So you have to be very, very patient, very hardworking, and try to deal with many problems. We need to be a problem solver, actually, because on many aspects of working on such a film, if it's a stop motion, so traditional animation, or something quite modern like a 2D computer animation, you are going to meet many different difficulties and things that are going to be a challenge for you that might stop you on your way. So you have your eyes wide open and try to look for many ideas, and also be quite smart, because many things require being quite smart when it comes to looking for a proper way how to present them or how to produce them to look probably and effectively on the screen. Sometimes even easy things can turn out to be quite hard. For example, I created a short animated film that's kind of an expression of admiration for the Mikhail Bulgakov book, The Master and Margarita, and animating the ending sequence with a cat, a behemoth. This is one of the characters from the book. Turned out to be quite hard because of the fur of this cat. I wanted it to look quite naturally, so it was one of the big challenges when it comes to this short film. So I believe that if you are going to work hard and be close to your vision, be stick to it, one day you're going to be able to produce the final film. So being hardworking and patient are definitely those things that animator should have.
And you have to be hardworking. You have to be patient too, but you also have to find time to be get inspiration out there too. So how do you balance the demands of being an animator Also being somebody in school too, and trying to have a social life out there too. Have you found time management skills in your trade?
Yes, time management skills are very important, and I try to develop them all the time because I know that
Yeah.
better I'm going to be in time management, the more I will be able to do. One thing that I learned about myself, and I should mention, it's also the fact that we shouldn't be perfectionists when it comes to our work. I love dealing with details, and I put lots of heart and soul into each project that I do. But sometimes there are some things that we just simply should let them go and skip some tiny details because the entire product is much more important than some maybe details or more less important things that we might work on. But the thing that really helped me when it comes to time management and developing myself as a person, animator, and a student was the fact that I studied in the film high school at the Warsaw Film School. The school was absolutely fantastic. It's one of the very unique schools in Europe, actually, because everything when it comes to my classes and the traditional school learning system was dedicated to my artistic work. So wherever I had this literal marathon of work on film, or I was working on some other artistic projects on some short feature films or on paintings, everything when it comes to the school was dedicated to my time management. And I was able to, for example, pass some exams a little bit later than normally I would. And thanks of the fact that the school was so open and so comfortable when it comes to dealing with the time and school obligations, I managed to pass my high school leaving exam on quite an outstanding level. It was 97% out of 100. So it was something very outstanding when it comes to my national level. And both at the same time, I was able to produce 7 short animated films when I was at school. So definitely, I believe that finding a proper institution that is going to guide you and help you both in your private life as well as in your working time is something that can help young person develop and pursue their dreams. So this school was something that helped me a lot.
Thank you, Gabby, for taking time. I bet it's really late right now where you're
Yes,
at.
it's more than half past midnight actually in my time zone, but I'm
Wow.
used to working at nights, as you can imagine. So it wasn't a problem for me to appear here today, and I'm very thankful for this interview. It was very nice to talk to you.
Well, no, thank you. I always love to learn about the youthful inspirations out there and what how you guys create great work out there. So you can find out more about 2 of Gabby's films. It's Phantom and the Execution of Memory on our Shenandoah Youth Film Festival by going to shenfilms.com. And our festival will be going on until early July.